However, Meredith says, we've been dealing with this from Jen a long time, and it's pre-trial. What happened to me on the boat was ridiculous.
What really was ridiculous was poor Angie's shoes just floating in the ocean.
Lisa said, I am there for Jen all the time.
No, you're only there when it suits your plot line. Otherwise, you will get in the wind with that heifer. Really, Heather Gay is the only one truly there for her, to her own demise. Oh my God, Whitney. Whitney. You keep trying to make this fight between you and Heather Gay happen when you decided to put this heifer on blast. That's what the real issue is. Heather Gay don't remember your fight because it ain't worth remembering. Now, Jen should remember pushing Lisa almost off the boat. So Whitney said she was going to take a friend break from Heather, and Angie says, how's that going? Whitney says, and Heather hasn't even noticed because you're not that much fun to be around, and she knows you and your coot have coin concerns, so you might not have as much time to frolic with friendship. Heather still wants to be on the good foot with Jen. Girl, why? So the next morning, Jen and Angie hug. Jen apologizes. I'm sorry. After the way you cussed me out, I don't need to look at you, especially when we ain't in your house.
Lisa says, well, you and Jen are not in a good spot, but I feel like there's been a lot of lies and a lot of flip-flopping.
Yeah, Jen has told a lot of lies, and that's why she's going to prison. Prison. Not jail, but prison.
Lisa says she wasn't talking major shit, she just wasn't being honest about her feelings.
Angie does give Jen a shout out for telling everybody, the only person I know who cares about me is Angie Castanane. I don't know why you care about Jen's affection. I don't give a fart about the feelings of felons. So Angie and Jen on the good foot, but Angie like, I got my good eye on the heifer. Over with Heather and Lisa, Heather says we all have toxic relationships with Jen, which is the truth. The truth. Heather's like, I don't want to abandon the heifer before the who's scowl, but she's a tornado. So Heather has noticed that Whitney ain't her Ace Boone raccoon no more. So Lisa really stirring Heather's turd.
How do you want to handle it today?
And Heather said, look, I want to get cool with Jen, but I don't want to get deep into the feelings. Otherwise, I ain't going to fart with the heifer no more. And neither would we. And neither would the elderly that she's stolen from.
Day 2, San Diego.
We heading to the beach.
Oh, God, now we have to listen to Lisa pronounce Turks and queso.
You ain't ever been to a Caicos. So we gonna have games and a picnic and sandcastle wars. I'm with Meredith. Let's just relax with a margarita. So Heather's really trying to win this. She's like, let's do something authentic to the trip. Let's keep it simple, stupid. If you wanted to keep it simple, stupid, you should have had Whitney on your team. So Whitney gonna wreck Heather's team's castle. I mean, that was a pretty shitty evil eye, but they gonna do a gunny sack race. I don't think we should use that term. Let's just call it potato sack. I don't know if gunny has racial history, but I bet it does. Mirage in the chat said they could build a prison. Oh, that would be easy. So Heather's team ain't win, but were we really paying attention to them little games? I know I was on Best Fiends. But now let's get back to the drama. So everybody talking about their issues with Jen, and Heather says, well, Angie, you were holding hands with her on the bus this morning. Yeah, because she's sliding in to take her spot. She ain't gonna spar with her no more. So now some of the girls going surfing and some of the girls going eat. I'm with the eaters. The California ocean is beautiful, but it's cold and it's strong. I'm an East Coast girl, and I don't even know if I need to surf. I might have missed that, and that's okay. It's okay. Over with Jen, Lisa, and Heifer. It's Heather with a little bit of heifer on it, like the lady herself. Oh, Lord, but Heather gonna confront Jen because Lisa done twisted her arm into doing it. Heather, you stupid. I could swindle you. I'm surprised Jen didn't get you for your coin. You're lucky. If Phaedra Parks had known you, you'd be broke and in jail, like Jen.
Lisa said, well, you know, I thought you and I were fine, so the boat for me yesterday was really rough.
Jen, meanwhile, said, I woke up and I was confused and didn't know what was going on. Yeah, because you know you're about to wake up in a whole new world. New guards and commissary. People to tell you no and where to go. For now you're in a prison world, not me. Jen apologizes to Lisa, though, and says, I'm sorry if I was mean to you because you were with Angie. Heather asks Jen, do you think our relationship is toxic? Well, duh. But you think Jen's gonna know Jen still doesn't think she's a thief. And you can blame all your anger on Angie, Jen, but you're really mad at the Southern District of New York. Oh, God, they rerunning that Christmas movie with Kyle Richards from last year. Wasn't no good. And I'm going to be watching some Christmas crap this season. Where are my background singers? Shit. So Jen says, yes, I do think our relationship is toxic because I asked you if you were going to be friends with Angie. Immediately blaming someone else. You're still friends with Angie. You didn't hold her accountable. Child, she just ain't getting in nobody else's mess. Like she's not going around to your victims. She ain't getting in that mess, is she? So then let her stay out of Angie's. How about that? Heather says, well, how do you think I feel when you're in the hot tub with Whitney talking mess about me? And Jen says, I didn't. And she really didn't. She just said she don't feel like you there for her, but you are there for her, Heather. But you also have to realize Jen is cuckoo. She's giving me sociopathic tea, so don't trust her. Heather had a good point. Jen, you're ride or die, or I'm dead to you, even when you're wrong, felony wrong.
But Lisa says, I just want to be able to hang out with the both of you and not worry about what's going to happen.
No, you want to hang out with the both of them and have Jen put all her anger on Heather like she did for the past few seasons. Then you like to go play peacemaker and mend fences so you're not in the drama, so nobody's looking at your ugly husband or unused kitchen. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the rickets your kids got. Let's talk about the scurvy in your family. Heather said, look, it's the same cycle with you, Jen. When we cool. But when we ain't, you could be throwing my shoes instead of Angie's shoes. We never know who you're going to put your venom in. Jen says, well, our relationship is toxic because you flip-flop. You flip-flop, Heather. No, Heather doesn't. Heather treats you with kids' gloves. Now, Heather does need to stand firm and say, I don't fuck with you no more. That's what you really need to do. But Jen, could you handle that? I don't think so. But you won't be able to handle prison either. Heather said, okay, I can see this heifer done had her fill of accountability. Oh, God, now Jen almost committed suicide because Heather's friend is heartless. Now, I ain't making fun of mental health issues. And if any of you are struggling with those thoughts, please, sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, reach out and get help. There is a brighter tomorrow. That I believe in. But now, Jen, you playing with something serious. This is play, in the words of Bondi Blue. Play. Oh, God, when Angie decided to drag me and my entire family, you stole, bitch. You stole from old people. You sold people a dream and cashed in and flaunted your wealth, your theft. Fuck you. Because if you had stolen my money, I'd see you for it. This ain't bullying, heifer. Ain't no bullying going on. You're the bully. You are the bully. You bullied people out of their life savings, and you want to talk about bullying? Get to jail. Get to jail. Heather says, well, Jen, you need to recognize the cycle. I need to recognize the cycle. You all have cycles. Well, you gonna end your cycle while you in prison. I would not want to be in prison during the pause. I can't believe Heather and Lisa are bonding over their toxic relationship with Jen. And Heather, you stupid because Lisa is doing this for a plot line because she ain't got shit going on with her life. You got more. You've got a successful business and children that like you, unlike Giselle. And now Jen is crying. She is done. Oh, crocodile tears. Over with the other girls, Angie's trying to get Whitney to mend fences with Heather, and she needs to mind her business. Is this another hour and 15-minute episode? Oh, Lord, for dinner we doing Marilyn Monroe-inspired looks? Here come the cheap blonde wigs. We see enough of them on Housewives of Potomac betwixt Charisse, Rob, and Gabrissy. Whitney says, from a young age, I've been obsessed with Marilyn Monroe. What young white hoe wasn't? What young white hoe wasn't obsessed with Marilyn Monroe? What young white hoe? Ooh, so we had dinner with these cotton balls on our head.
So Meredith asked, how was y'all's lunch while we went surfing?
And now we gotta bring down the dinner. Oh, God. Jen says, well, we're not going to talk about it because it's too personal and too heavy. And Whitney says, oh, so are you just not talking about it, or are you three not talking about it? And Jen says, okay, well, since you're digging, I told them I tried to off myself. I did start watching White Lotus. So now Whitney's upset that Jen blindsided her, but Jen brought this up to blindside everybody for a pity party. Oh, Jen said, well, I have some questions since you want to be so inquisitive. Jen says, you was telling everybody I was talking about Heather in your hot tub. And you were. We rolled the beautiful bean footage. So Jen tells Whitney, well, tell Heather how you feel since we all being open. Heather says, oh, well, your new feelings are news to me, Whitney. Girl, now you know good and well. You just said, oh, well, me and Heather aren't in a good space. Heather says, okay, Heifer, let me hear it. What you got? Now, they are doing some good bean footage on this episode of showing how Heather won't really stick around and have resolve with Whitney, and how she'll always mention, well, you know, Whitney was there. Whitney was involved. Whitney. Meanwhile, Lisa getting ready to strike.
Well, you know, if your narrative doesn't fit Heather and Jen's, then they'll spin it.
Why did they give Heather this George Washington wig? Why? Look like you about to cross the Delaware. Okay, Whitney, if you want to have a private conversation with Heather and not have anybody roped in, why don't you have a private conversation and not do it at a dinner? And Whitney, the only one with that wig glued down. Everybody else, child, you seeing seams. So after Heather's soliloquy and she's ready to listen, Whitney said, you're not ready to listen, so I'm not going to tell you. Go on, girl. This is why people call you little girl. Now she out here selling little girl t-shirts. I mean, hell, you got your shit out before Sheree. So Heather gets to the real issue. Whitney says, you don't hear me. And Heather says, no, I didn't hear you when it was a rumor that I didn't sign up to spread. That's the real tea. Oh!
And now Meredith decided to engage and say, well, Whitney, you said a rumor that I never heard either.
Oh, God. Okay, now, Whitney, hold the hell on. You are nobody's clairvoyant. You're going to say I'm a vibes girl. I knew, Meredith, when you came over, you was going to have a conversation about Angie's business with me. Now, Lisa's taking up for Meredith?
Well, Meredith was only pointing out the hypocrisy. Well, you have to apologize. You have to apologize when we all talk shit behind each other's back.
So then Jen pipes up and said, well, at the hot tub, Whitney told us that she was taking a friendship break from you. And Heather says, oh, well, that's news to me. Well, you hadn't been hearing from her, so you can't be that shocked. So now Heather's mad, telling Whitney loyalty's a deal breaker for me and the deal is broken. I mean, Heather, you can't be the mature one and be like, okay, if the baby needs a break, let her take 10 minutes. So we finally break it down, and Whitney admits she's jealous that Jen gets more grace than she does in their friendship. Heather says, well, we still friends because my love for you is overpowering the bull you trying to stir. And you are stirring a turd like a toilet wand. So Heather keeps telling Whitney to say something, and Whitney keeps saying, Heather, you over talking me, but Whitney ain't never saying nothing. So Heather just shh, like actually be quiet and just wait for Heather to open her mouth. But Heather, you too damn long-winded. So Whitney finally starts talking. I gotta pee, the heifer took so long. Okay.
Even Meredith makes some sense. Whitney, you're taking what Heather's saying like she's saying insultingly, and Heather's just saying it at face value so she can hear you.
Well, that ain't Heather's fault that Whitney feels attacked when Whitney ain't being attacked. Speak up, pipsqueak.
And now Lisa says, well, Whitney never said boundary. And Lisa says, well, Whitney never said friendship break. She said boundary.
Heather said, well, you let Whitney speak. She wants to be heard, so let her be heard. Why you butting in with no butt? Oh, God. This is why I'm having the boundary, because you said this is bull. Well, Whitney, it is bull. It's a rumor that really is not that important. And just because you process an abuse don't mean everybody got to get on your ship. If you want to be messy, you can be messy, but you got to stand in that on your own. Okay, Whitney, now you gonna say I'm processing abuse, but you gonna put your hands on me, but you had your finger in her face. You can't be all, don't touch me, I've been abused, but then fingers in face. You should be all, oh, let me give personal space. You getting amnesia. Now, you're trying to be real, and Heather's making a mockery of it. How? By saying she doesn't recall or not wanting to participate in the bull? This is bull, I'm sorry, it is. Heather said, I fought for you. I got your products in my store. I'm your friend. That's true, Heather. Whitney out here telling your business in the hot tub. But Lisa, why are you piping up? Oh, Heather said, climb as far up Lisa's butt as you can so you can feel safe. Lisa, this became about you because you keep inserting yourself. Oh my goodness, Lisa, don't ever feel like you are a prize, even if it is at a state fair. So now Heather starts apologizing, but she get kind of sly with it. I'm sorry that you feel like you could have had a better friendship with Lisa if it wasn't for me. And everybody like, now Heather, you know that's insincere. Whitney says, well, you're still not hearing me, and this is gaslighting extraordinaire. I don't like that I have to scream and yell for people to hear me. Well, Whitney, say something meaningful.
Heather says, I hear you and I'm sorry. So now Lisa wants to take a breather.
Lisa, you always want to take a breather when the focus ain't on you. So nothing's been resolved and they all leave the table. Heather's like, girl, boom. So we all run into the bar and Jen's telling Heather, I didn't know that you didn't know about the friendship break. Wow. Oh, God. And Heather's like, I didn't know and it was a heartbreaker. Girl, Whitney ain't that important. So we all gather our ratty wigs and head to the club. I would let you in there because that's a fire hazard. Oh, they're at the gay bar? Oh, Lord. We do not want these type of women in our spaces. I'm sorry. So we get back from the club. We got pizza. The energy's a bit calmer. Jen got some hobbit feet to be running around without shoes on. Oh, God, and it's getting Leslie. Oh, Lord, I did not need to see the tit touch. Oh, put them away, put them away. Oh, if I wasn't gay before. No. And Jen loves doing that little split move. Scissor, sister, scissor, sister. Jen, put some clothes on. Trust me, you will get to les it up in prison. So at 4:50 a.m., they knocking on Heather's door. 7 hours later. Heather asked for Meredith to come to her room. Jen's already in there. She has a Sunday Carter Shiner who whooped her ass. What? What? Well, that was the shit, and I'ma see you soon for something.